I have seen many people when they want to learn data science or the machine learning or the deep learning or the artificial intelligence, they end up with having the question whether they are the good fit for these particular roles or not. Before starting the course itself, they're gonna start overthinking on this particular area and they never start the learning the data science and the AI. So based on my experience day-to-day activities I do, in this video I'm gonna discuss the 7 most required qualities to become a successful data scientist or the AI engineer. So in case if you have the same qualities right now, you are the good fit for the data scientist. And in case if you don't have those qualities, let's not demotivated, and anything can be achievable with the right set of practice and the commitment and the consistency, right? Again, this video is not to judge anybody. I know everybody is very good at their own way. So this video is to tell what are the best mindset will be suitable for the data science or the AI engineer. So without any further delay, let's get jump in. Number 1, love solving chaos and organizing the unorganized. So if I talk about real world data looks very mess, right? And it will be very unclean and unstructured, right? We have to collect the data from different sources and you have to combine it and you have to convert into a very well structured way, from mess to the structured. So this kind of process, if you're already doing as part of your day-to-day activity in the current role, data science role, you can easily pitch in, and this will be a very good positive point when you have this kind of skill already into your bucket. Say for example, what I mean by that is, say for example, when I talk about the huge and miss data, right? Mess data. So the food delivery apps like Zomato and Swiggy, right? If they want to give a reward coupons to the loyal customers, so what we have to do, being a data scientist in that particular Zomato or Swiggy, we have to cluster we have to group the loyal customers and unloyal customers, isn't it? To do that, you do require the user data, but in reality this user data will not be there in a single table, right? So the user data, like the user purchase pattern, will be there in one history, one table, and users buying behavior or buying pattern will be there in a different table, and the user how he interacts with the customer support or the tickets that he raised in the past. So all these things will be available in a different system which are totally different from the rest of the system. So being a data scientist to that particular product, you have to understand that uncertainty in that particular data, and you have to extract the data using a lot of tools or Python or something like that. You have to convert that huge messy data into structured data to solve the problem, right? Number 2, comfortable with math and numbers. For a data scientist, math is like a second language. Why it is a second language? Because it's a medium of communication between the real world and the data scientist. Something like musicians use the notes and poets to describe their tunes and their musical notes, right? So similarly, we do use the numbers to understand what's happening with the model and what is the nature of the data. To understand all these things, we use the math. So say for example, look at this image, right? So this is, we call it as a cricket batting warm graph, right? So in case if you are familiar with cricket, you could easily understand what this graph and all, right? So what it is saying, if someone asked you what happened in this match, especially in the batting innings, you could easily tell the whole story just by looking at it, right? Something like runs per over, wickets fallen, and batting comparison, and the whole narrative, right? The whole narrative, the image itself, from the image itself you can easily say, right? So similarly, if you like staring that particular graphs and the dashboards, and if you want to communicate, if you want to understand by staring at that particular images or the dashboards, you're already doing the data scientist job, knowingly, unknowingly, right? So if you have this quality, this will be very helpful if you want to emphasize yourself into a data science domain, right? Number 3, love to gain the conceptual knowledge, right? So conceptual understanding is very important for every professional, rather not just for data science or the AI, right? Be it a software engineering or the electrical engineering or a civil engineering, right? Conceptual understanding is very important. When it comes to the data scientist, no one really remembers the formula or the code that is required for their day-to-day activities, right? So they do understand, we do understand the concept and the foundational knowledge that's been part of that formula or the problem that we are solving, right? Say for example, to illustrate this particular conceptual understanding, I'll give an example. Let's see. So let's imagine a doctor tells a patient that this operation has only 50% of the survival rate, but do not worry, all my last 30 patients are survived. If he says that, it sounds very incredibly, assuring to the patient, right? But if the patient knows the basics of the stats and the probability, that statement given by the doctor, for him it will not make any sense, and it will not assure him at all, right? Because the person knows the stats and probabilities, right? He knows that even though the last 30 outcomes are, last 30 patients are survived, he still knows that the 31st outcome can have the 50% of the survival rate, which will not have any change in the probability outcome, right? So that is where the conceptual understanding is very important, rather than just reading the lines and getting the conclusion on top levels is not the case, right? We have to understand more based on the foundational knowledge or the conceptual understanding that what we have. Number 4, research and investigation. In data science, every project or every problem is like a mini research project, right? Why I am saying this? Because if you want to implement any solution, before implementing the solution, you have to read a lot of papers and you have to do extensive research in the online internet or using the GPT nowadays or the Gemini, whatever the things. You have to extract all the related information to solve that problem you are currently doing, right? So in this process also, there are a lot of times you need to be brainstorm with your colleagues, right? So if you are someone who already doing this job, you will be very likely to adopt this particular data science job without any effort, right? So when we are talking about the curiosity, when we are talking about this investigation mindset, is nothing but we do require a curious mind to solve different problems in data science. What does it mean? For example, let me give you one real-time illustration. The ride-sharing apps like Uber or Ola has suddenly seen that the ride dropout rates in Wednesday, let's assume the Wednesday, and once in a week, that too happening in one particular city, not entire the country, right? So there should be something wrong in that particular city, especially when that particular weekday arrives. So being a data scientist to that particular product, or a data analyst to that particular product, you have to analyze that hidden pattern, why, or hidden cause, why that there is a sudden drop of rides in that particular weekday. So let's say that the data analyst or the data scientist, after thorough research or thorough investigation, he finds that that particular ride drop was happening due to the local public transport giving the discounts on that day, on that particular weekday. That's why the people who often go to the public transport rather than booking the cabs. This is not directly application fault of the Uber or Ola. They realized that they missed the context of that particular thing. So in this way, you have to you have to investigate that particular problem to get the root cause. So this kind of investigation sometimes looks like crime investigation that we usually see in the movies, right? Something like a detective mindset. So they are digging deeper and deeper with the evidences they collected, right? So this kind of process is very unique to the problem and application to the application. So if you are someone who already doing this kind of things in your job, the data science, the technical way of investigation I'm talking about. So if you are doing already this kind of job as part of your day-to-day activity, you can easily adopt the data science without any hurdles, right? Number 5, if you are someone who love coding, yes, there is no exception from the coding. The mesh data we have talked some time back. So whatever the data, right, we're going to extract, clean it and transform it. All this process will be happen using the coding only. So in that process you have to write lot of code snippets in your Jupyter notebook using Python or R language, right? You have to write lot of coding. And if you are someone who are very interested or very much likely to learn or understand the code, very understanding and debugging the big code bases and debugging into them, so definitely you can easily fit into this data science domain without any doubt, right? So the coding, again, this is a really a foundational skill still in the AI era. I have made a separate video why to learn coding in this AI era. If you are interested, you can go and check it out. I'll leave the link in the description. So even though GPT and Windsurf or whatever the tools that are generating the coding, still there should be someone who needs to operate that particular coding in a correct direction or a correct way towards what we want as a data scientist or the product owner or product engineer, right? So it is up to the someone who needs to be operate that particular coding generation in a correct direction. So if you are interested, you can go and check out that video. Yeah, the point I want to highlight here is, even though it's in AI, still the coding is a foundational skill. It's very much important. You have to understand or write a very big snippets of the code as part of your day-to-day activities if you want to become a data scientist. Number 6, communication skills and storytelling skills. When we talk about the communication skills, I'm not talking about the fancy words and fancy accent. That is not communication skill when we talk about the data, when we talk in the context of data science. So here the communication skills for the data science, I mean the technical information, the technical insights that you got from your analysis, that needs to be translated to a very simple and plain English, right? That defines the communication skills. Whatever the things that you are delivering, that should be easily understandable for the clients or someone who does not know the data science terminology, right? I'm not talking about the fancy accent and the fancy words and the big words using in part of your communication. That's and all, it's a different communication skills which we are not talking about it. Here I'm talking about the communication skills for a data scientist, right? So you have to convert that business insight or the technical insight that you have derived from the data analysis or the modeling that you have done, and convert that technical information into the very simple and plain English, so that the stakeholders or the client or the end users, not end users, the client or someone, the product owner, should easily understandable, right? And also the storytelling, right? Storytelling is also very good, important, very good skill that's been required for a data scientist, right? If you are very good at storytelling, that means you can easily convert these technical insights into a very good story. So say for example, let's say the government of India has conducted a survey for school dropouts, and it's been found out that one particular area there is a dropout rate of 15% every year, and they want to reduce that particular dropout rate. Somehow that became very normal, because every year is 15%, they think that it's not a big dropout rate. But let's assume somehow this particular problem came to the data science team, and there's a data scientist team, after understanding the thorough data or after analyzing the very data that is available for the school and the student, and what are all the geographical data that we have, they have some actual reasons why that particular dropouts were happening consistently. Let's say those results, when we are presenting to the IAS officers or the politicians, they have to build a very interesting story, because IAS officers are very intelligent, we understand that, but the data science domain that we are talking, or the data analysis that you are doing in your way, if you present the raw information to them, they cannot understand it, right? So say for example, right, if you build a story something like this, the reason for 15% of dropouts, if you want to present it, if some experienced data scientist, how you will present it, in the sense, he will take a sample from that particular data point, like 15% dropouts, right? He will take one sample, something like, he is Asha, who is a student of this 4th or 5th class, and he is 12 years old. To come to the school, she walks daily 3.5 kilometers alone. So that is the actual reason she dropped off this particular school. It's not about any academic reasons. So if that was the first slide, let's assume in the second slide, how he can prepare is, right, now he can show the actual dropouts who are living far behind the particular school, right? So in this way we have introduced one situation and we have connected the real stats to that particular situation. And in the second slide it can be like, out of 30 dropouts, 25 of them are actually dropped out because of the long distance from the school. So that particular insight will connect to the IAS officer or the person who don't even know anything about the data science, but he still that empathy will create, and he might do the next set of actions that are really required to reduce that particular dropout, right? So in this way the storytelling is really important. Like, the storytelling is nothing but like putting your insights in a very best possible way, and it should be easily understandable for the end user who doesn't even know the technicality of the data science, right? So we have to put the things in a very storytelling manner. So if you are already doing that thing in your day-to-day activity, you can easily pick up in this data science, and the data science is for you. Number 7, lifelong learning, right? If you see the AI or the data science field, it is evolving very fast. So every month, or at least every month, we have to spend a lot of time for learning, and after learning, practicing and implementing. So this kind of cycle will repeat again and again. We have to do it forever. There is no exception from this, because this is the AI is the AI field itself is evolving very fast. If you see few years back, there is only a topic called transformer, and from that transformer this much evolution was happened, right? This chat GPT or any LLM that we are seeing as of today, that's because of the transformer research that's been done by the Google, right? That everyone knows. So that fast it is evolving. So we need to keep updated the knowledge. That's what's happening around the AI. So this is a very much important for someone who want to be a good data scientist or the AI engineer. So the continuous learning or the lifelong learning is really important for a data scientist or the AI engineer, right? So these are the 7 qualities that's been discussed so far. In case if you have these qualities, you are the very good for data science, no doubt about it. Let's stop thinking and start learning. In case if you feel that these certain qualities are not matching into your personality, always remember that you can easily achieve anything by the consistent practice. So these are the 7 qualities, right, really required to become a successful data scientist or the AI engineer. So with that being said, that's all for this video. We're going to upload more videos on the AI and the data science and software engineering. In case if you are interested, please consider subscribing this channel. Till then, bye bye. Have a nice learning.